how does like the results of these meetings, how do they affect us in the fire service like directly?
So
It seems like the way you described it seems like a broad, right? So how does it directly affect us?
well, so for the membership in the AFL-CIO, it's a much bigger group of unions, and so if, let's say, New Hanover has an issue on pay, and you're in this group, and then you call these people up, and maybe they help present your case to city council, or maybe they stand out there with you holding signs that says, fight for 15 for firefighters, like we did in Asheville, and they all came out, and they wrote letters, and they helped with blasting things out on social media, and so, and they all have PACs. So if you need help with your PAC and whatever, they're there for that too.
That's safety in numbers kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And there's education and training in there too.
Cool. So I've heard you mention Asheville.
That's right.
Is that where you come from?
That's where I come from, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I started working in Asheville in February of 2007, and I'm a captain there on Engine 15. And, it's a great place to work, great place to live.
Why Asheville?
I guess when I was looking for another department to go to, my ex-wife had some family there, and we checked it out, and I thought it was a cool spot, and the department's good, really progressive department. I put applications in a bunch of different places, actually. I got offered a job in Savannah the very same day I got offered a job in Asheville, and I just like the area. It's a cool spot. It's a great department, and so
That's probably in my opinion, that's probably the prettiest area in our state, in my opinion. But I'm a cool weather mountains kind of guy. It's weird because I live at the beach,
right,
close to the beach.
Yeah.
I enjoy the beach too, but I like that area a lot better. We just got back from a hunting trip, and a lot of the people that we would run into, like we're on the way home, and we've got these huge elk antlers in the bed of the truck. So everywhere that we stop, people are asking, and they see North Carolina tags on the truck, and they're like, North Carolina, so like Asheville, everybody.
That's the automatic.
Like, yeah. Now, I mean, this is in Arkansas. This is in parts of Oklahoma, Tennessee. Everybody's like, oh, Asheville. Yeah, North Carolina, Asheville. It's like, well, yeah, Asheville is in North Carolina. We're on the other end, but yeah. So
no kidding.
Yeah, so everybody recognizes Asheville, of course, but everybody agrees it's very pretty there.
And did you tell them we don't have elk in Asheville?
I think most folks know that we don't have elk in North Carolina. We do have elk in North Carolina. We just don't have a season for them.
Yeah, they just released a bunch.
Yeah,
but
I'm hopeful.
Where'd you get the elk from?
Oklahoma, Stillwell, Oklahoma.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a trip of a lifetime for sure.
Yeah, Asheville's cool. Wilmington's awesome. I hadn't been out here for a couple of years, but every time I come here, more stuff is being built. Everybody's out enjoying the town. It's a cool spot.
It is. I love home. I like traveling. Yeah, I've been to Asheville several times. It's nice, and every time I drive home, it's like I just can't wait to get back to my spot.
Yeah.
It's cool here.
Yeah, I hear you. And there's so much to explore out there in that Asheville area. I mean, the forests are just so big. So many trails, and mountain biking's amazing up there. Mm-hmm. It's a cool spot to work and play.
I think it'll do a lot of good for our task force members to take vacations up there, because we always go up there, but we have to work.
I know you just had a big vacation up in Caruso, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So I think it'd do them some good to get up there. Some of the members do to go up there and vacation a lot. But yeah, we're beach people, man. We're tropical peoples.
And boat people, apparently.
Yeah.
So I understand you got to work with our rescue company, and we have a task force too in Asheville, but people were all over the place during that storm. But our guys bragged about how professional your task force team was, and how, I mean, there's no messing around. You guys got there, you're ready to go, and got to work.
Yeah, that's refreshing for sure. I wasn't on that particular deployment. We had just got back from Safer, so I was gone, and then they made the call to get availability. I was like, look, I'm available if it's make or break. Like, if Task Force 11 can't go because I'm not there, which is silly to even think, but if it's a numbers thing, then I'll go. My wife was like, this is a no-brainer. You should be going. She was like, you do all this training, you do all this work, you need to go. I was like, eh. But I mean, my kids were starting school, so it's the first time back to school since the pandemic, and they've been out for a year, and I didn't want to miss that. My son was having a lot of anxiety about going back to school, so I was very torn. So I sat out, but I heard, just like you said, a lot of great things from those guys that went up there.
Yeah, and it's always, I mean, you don't wish it on anybody, but it's always nice to get that work too.
Sure.
And I mean, there's almost nothing worse than getting deployed somewhere and you just sit there for days knowing everyone is out there working. It's like if you catch a structure fire at work and you're like, I should really be on that. What's going on?
Wrong side of town or whatever.
Yeah.
What's the task force number out there?
2.
Yeah.
Yep. But I've had those deployments too. We went up for the one last year. It was just a lot of riding. We went to the Western Branch and hung out there for a couple hours, and they sent us to Rocky Mount. So it's like, and then halfway back home, and then we sat there for the night, and then we ended up coming back home a little later. But it's just a lot of driving. But that's task force life.
Yeah.
Hurry up and wait.
Yeah, I've been that guy.
Yeah, hurry up and wait.
I talked to the Indiana boys when they came here for Florence.
Yeah.
And it's a neat system. They're all, the FEMA teams. So they just look at the storm and where it's heading, and they just guess. But the guys that won't work are really trying to put themselves to be closest to whatever the need is. So they just guessed Wilmington and drove in close. The whole time we thought we were getting New York's team, because I guess they were closer the last time they had looked to see where everybody was, but Indiana
Slid in there.
Yeah, I was proud of them. I like somebody that wants to get work.
Yeah. Yeah, they are good at that. Mm-hmm. I've had that same experience with Indiana.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. It was a great crew. That was my first experience working with a team like that. And the questions were good. The answers, I had some lesson learning experiences, but it was a great thing. And they come ready to work. It was 100 and some individuals, and then the what's the guard? National Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came, and it was neat to watch these people that had never worked together, but they do their own training, and they meet, shake hands, come up with a plan, and then all right, let's go.
Get it done.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was impressive to me how everybody on the Indiana team, they kind of knew their role. Like if you weren't going out with the guard or whatever, they were in the firehouse mopping floors, cleaning bathrooms, all kinds of stuff. They understood very well what it meant to be a task force, and that is to serve the area that you're in whatever aspect they need, which, that's taught to us, when we go through all the task force. If you go through the TFL class, task force leader class or anything like that, that is pushed. You're going into other fire departments' areas to supplement their needs. Do that. If that means they need you to clean toilets for 72 hours, get a brush and get comfortable. But that's what it means. Mm-hmm. You're not guaranteed that you're going out to go swim or go do structural collapse stuff or any of that. It's you're serving a purpose to supplement that department, and they killed it. They were taking out trash, always 2 pots of coffee made. They were on it. When Timmy was our resident cook, TK, he was our resident cook for that whole stint. But they were right there. I mean, if he get done with a pot, set it by the sink, they were washing it. Mm-hmm. It was just like that, and it stayed like that whole 7 days. It was wild.
Yeah, the federal police.
Yeah.
What organization was that? That's all we knew.
The DEA with it. I don't know about the federal police, but it was the DEA with those guys.
Okay, we just knew it was a federal level law enforcement, so we didn't know who they were. I wasn't checking IDs at the door. You know what I mean?
Well, they had guns, so I was talking to them.
Yeah. Yeah. They rode with us, and they were also in it to win it.
Yeah.
Nobody that came seemed like they had to be there.
It's like, damn, I'm on this deployment.
Yeah.
They were all about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, we know you. Obviously, we know what you do. What is it that you do? What's your title? What makes Scott Mullins Scott Mullins?
So I guess first of all, I'm a captain at the Asheville Fire Department. I'm the president of the Asheville Firefighters Association and the state president of the Professional Firefighters and Paramedics of North Carolina.
Cool. Cool. What does that entail?
Which one?
Let's go with the state level. I think probably most people know what local presidents do. By
Yeah.
now we've had Bob Zine on, Josh, good conversation with Josh, but and we're getting into a lot of details and the benefits that come from being a union member. But what does a day-to-day look like on a state president level?
So, as proactive as we try and be, there's always issues that pop up, and just work issues that people have, or legislative issues that pop up, and we're always working on legislation, and we are the only ones that are there working on legislation in Raleigh, whether we're there, physically or not. Only ones working on firefighter legislation on a daily basis, and so we care about the safety and the pay and the benefits of our members, and we work every day to improve the lives of firefighters and their families.
Cool. What's some of the biggest issues we're having right now? What are some of the biggest pieces of legislation that the union's trying to push through?
So the biggest thing is presumptive cancer coverage for firefighters, and we've worked extremely hard on that. It used to be in the workers' comp system, and I got in and worked with Josh and the board and New Frame, who I know you guys have been on.
Yeah.
They've been on your show, rather. And so we came up with a new idea, and it was creating a cancer fund instead of being in the workers' comp system, because we couldn't get the traction in the Senate. And so we worked really hard and crafted some new legislation to protect firefighters and their families, and provide financial and job security.
Right.
And so that is the big one. And we had a standalone bill, and then we ended up putting it in the budget. And so, I mean, we talk with the bill sponsors, our champions, Speaker Tim Moore, Majority Leader John Bell, Appropriations Chair Jason Sane. I mean, these are some big guns, and Destin Hall, of course, who's our rules chair. I mean, these are some of the biggest guns that the House has, and they've had our backs, and they've been fighting for us on this cancer legislation. And like I said, we talk to them on a daily basis, and we feel pretty good about where it's at right now in the budget. We haven't seen the details because they're in negotiations. They want to negotiate in good faith, and so they're not releasing any details. But we're really hopeful that it stays in the budget. Like I said, we don't know for sure, but we're really hoping for a budget, and we're hoping Governor Cooper signs a budget, and we have one. We haven't had one since 2018. So the cancer legislation is the biggest thing. We're working on PTSD for coverage for firefighters. We had been working on separation allowance for years and years, and we still like that bill, but we're looking at approaching retirement benefits in a different way with the relief fund, and trying to boost that instead, which would be better for firefighters in the long run, because that pays throughout your life.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. That term you used, I didn't understand in the beginning. Let's talk about it for a second. The sponsors. So the first time I heard that, I thought like corporate sponsors, or that there was somehow, some shadowy figure that was sponsoring, like helping put money towards something. My lack of knowledge of politics at the time, I was like, what is this? And then I realized it's just the representative that believes in the bill and wants to put their name on it. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've been in Raleigh helping us collect those sponsors, and which is really helpful. Give New Hanover a shout out right now, because New Hanover always represents in Raleigh when we need them, and I can't say enough about that local and those guys, you guys. But yeah, so the sponsors, for us, we wanted some really powerful sponsors, and so we found some guys that believed in what we were doing, and they're all Republican. I mean, Republicans have control in the House and in the Senate, and so it was really important to get those good, powerful legislators behind our legislation and working in the caucus and helping get that legislation across the finish line.
Yeah. it's in this industry. It's nice. It's not so partisan. Like the things that we're asking for are not. You wouldn't necessarily just drop them in a Democrat or Republican. We're just trying to help firefighters.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I love so much about our union, our state association, and our international, and even locally in Asheville. You probably think, oh man, they're all liberal up there. Well, it's not. It really is about 50-50, and maybe even right-leaning, to be honest, across the state.
Yeah.
We probably actually lean a little to the right. And a lot of legislators don't know that, and so we educate them and we show them who we support, and we support whoever supports us.
Yeah, it gets real simple, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Politics can be super complex, but if the motives are right, which it really feels like that they are, then it puts away all the shadows. And it's just, hey, this is what we're trying to do for this reason. Are you in? Do you like us?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And of course, firefighters are incredibly loyal people,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how we are with our politics. If you help us, we're going to help you, and we're going to do whatever we can to help you get reelected, whether it's knocking doors or putting some money in your PAC to help keep you around. Firefighters going to do that.
Yeah.
And if you screw firefighters, we're going to remember that too.
Yeah, our memories are not good in other areas, but really good in that spot.
I
Yeah.
agree. I know. And firefighters are also really bad at showing up on time unless they're at work.
Right.
And but those two things I always tell people. But yeah, but they don't forget.
Yeah, it's so true. Ask me what I had for lunch 2 days ago, not a chance.
Uh,
Yeah, but
right.
ask me who stabbed me in the back before. Oh, I got my list running.
Yeah, I know it. And that's how we operate.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's right or wrong, but it's the truth.
It is what it is.
Yeah,
I know. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I'm not upset by
Yeah,
it.
politics is. I hate politics. Just right off the bat, I think it's all. I understand it's a necessity, but I think it's ridiculous. It's part of probably at least on my top 5 of the passions that I have for this show is the fact that you can take people with different opinions and we can sit down at this table and have conversations and still walk out of here laughing and giggling just like when we came in.
Yeah,
And it seems like in politics, especially when you coin it Democrat or Republican, whichever camp you fall into, you just shut off ideas from the other side. And that's not, I don't know how it got to that. I'm sure it's just kind of culture and how it's gotten. It's definitely being expressed a lot now, more in the news. But my personal opinion, it's never been a thing. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. What are your values? What are your what is your motives behind what you're trying to present? Has always been the number one thing. I could care less what party you fall in, but I think I'm special when it comes to firemen and that sense of reason. Is there any way that we can help that process or make it a little more clear, whether it doesn't matter which side you fall on? It's just the actual sense of the meat and potatoes of what's actually trying to happen is what's important. That makes sense?
Yeah, and I think we can always find common ground. It doesn't matter which party it is, and so yeah, I think just having those conversations with legislators and about the common ground, and I think they all generally want to help firefighters. I really, really believe that. Some of them want to help firefighters more.
Sure.
And then it comes down to money and priorities, and then some of them maybe don't value firefighters as much as we want them to. Mm-hmm. It is very frustrating that it's so decisive, and it gets really decisive for us during our endorsement process. And we just try and be upfront with everybody and say, hey, this is exactly why we're supporting this person. We're not saying you have to go vote for them. You go vote whatever issues are most important to you. We're just going to give you the information on why we like this person. And then we let our people make their own choices. And for us in Asheville, we were really upfront with people during the last presidential election. We understood that there were a lot of Trump people that were in our membership, and there are a lot of Biden people, and we're as upfront as possible, and throughout the whole thing, and I think our people really respect each other enough to understand that process, and we didn't lose any members over it. And I do think just being upfront and honest and sticking to the issues and then letting people decide what they want to do was the best way to approach that. But that's why I'm unaffiliated, actually, because
Right.
I don't care what you are.
Sure.
I really don't. But I'm just going to vote. And my ticket, I don't pull a straight ticket, and so I'll vote Republican if I like that person, Democrat if I like that person.
You sound so reasonable.
I know. We remember how in the building, going and talking to representatives, the office size got smaller, and how many years they had been there got smaller as you got toward the back. This one representative we went to talk to, this is in response to your question. We got to him and we're asking him for his support, and he had just been elected, and you could tell that he wanted, like his heart said, I want to help you guys. But he was so worried that his constituents would see his first action or see him wanting to do something that didn't fall into this category or this category. It was like he wanted to help, but he was nervous that his political career would get cut short if he did it. I think it was a fear-based thing for him. But in that, like, what can we do to help? I wonder how we can make it safer or more understandable for like fresh politicians to feel better about, I don't want to say it so callously, but doing the right thing or doing something. You got elected to make decisions. Man, that whole Republican Democrat thing is like, if you make a decision to spend $1, the Republicans get mad, or vice versa. It's just I wonder if we can come up with a way to make that a normal conversation instead of just shadows.
Yeah, and thanks for reminding me, because I just talked and talked. I didn't even answer your question. Sorry.
It's okay.
So what can you do to help? It really is just having those conversations. And I think the perfect example is Tim Karp. Tim Karp has a relationship with one of the most powerful legislators in the state of North Carolina. Senator Bill Rabin is the number 2 guy in the North Carolina Senate, and Tim happens to have a relationship with him, and so Tim's able to just get on that level where, because he's had that relationship for such a long time, and he's just able to talk to him like a normal person.
Right.
And firefighters all over the state have these relationships with these legislators, and that's what we need. We need them to just say, hey, so-and-so, this is really important for firefighters and their families. This is what it does. Could you help us out here? Or, talk to someone about it. And doing that stuff really helps move our legislation.
Yeah.
And speaking of those offices, it is pretty funny, because you'll get someone in the minority, and one of our big friends, Brian Turner, up in Asheville, and he had the tiniest office. It looked like 2 coat closets,
right?
Because they weren't connected. So if he had to talk to his legislative assistant, he'd either call her, or he would get up and walk outside and go in to talk to her. It is crazy how that works out.
Yeah, have you been up there?
No.
Yeah, you go to the
Oh,
back.
you love it. What are you doing? Get up.
Yeah, it's like you're saying, like once you get midway of the building, further forward, the assistant and the representative are in the same area, like a room like this, but you get toward the back and they're tiny little rooms. It makes you kind of giggle at the idea whoever designed that building had it in mind. Like, you got to earn your way to get up toward the front,
Oh, yeah.
But
And don't piss them off, because then you get one of those terrible offices.
right. Yeah, the cinder block room.
Oh, yeah. Lovely.
You're talking about having relationships. If you were a naysayer of politics and worried, like if I was going to argue against the idea of having relationships with different people, having a relationship means that you've established trust. It doesn't mean that you have like a financial gain or something like that, and that affects like in a firehouse. If you were wanting advice on doing better size ups or stretching better, you would go to somebody that you have a relationship with, that you can speak honestly. Having a relationship can be the most honorable thing, and because of 24-hour news and false ideas of politics, it makes it seem like, oh, there's a relationship there, then that it's unfair.
Mm-hmm.
It's not unfair. This is people know each other and have established trust and relationships.
Yeah, and you don't have to agree on everything, but if you have a relationship and you trust each other, and
Right.
I mean, I don't have to agree with your opinion, but I do value it.
Yeah.
And stuff like that is really helpful. And I would never ask a legislator to support a bill or put their name on a bill that would get them unelected.
Right. Right.
And even though I might want something, I'm not going to put a legislator in that position because it is that trust. And yeah, I think it'd be great to have you down up in Raleigh. I guess it is, but you don't have to be the most polished person, but you understand firefighter issues. So
Sure.
you could say, you could tell them, I hate politics. And they'd say, oh, me too.
Right.
But I know I'm serious. But hey, this is really important, and this would help my family.
I'd love to get them here, personally.
On the show,
Yes, absolutely.
you should ask.
I think it would do a lot of good. A lot of good. I think because we will disagree on stuff. We will. But that's like I spoke on before. That's healthy. I don't hold grudges because I don't value I'm not devaluing your opinion because of your beliefs. That's fine. So I see a lot of that decisiveness creeping into our fire service. And before it gets to be a huge problem, I want to be in front of it to let people know that you don't have to separate into camps, because division in the firehouse is going to be a cancer that we can't have a bill for. You can't fix it. It's a people thing, and I'm sure you know in Asheville, and I'm sure anybody who's in the fire service now knows that this outpouring from society nowadays, it's creeping in to our service. I mean, you see it everywhere.
COVID,
Perfect
example.
Yeah,
with
it's,
tests or mandates,
That's
whatever.
right. Vaccinated, not vaccinated.
Right.
You're constantly being put into a camp or a category all the time, and I don't like that in the firehouse. That's our place where we all have a common job, even though we don't get along all the time. When the bell goes off, we have the same purpose, and I don't want that to ever go away.
That's right.
So,
Yeah. COVID really has been terrible for that.
yeah.
And vaccination and vaccinated people and not vaccinated people, and trying to respect everybody. It's been a hard one.
Yeah, I wish we could put all of our strength into making sure that the division, like you're saying, doesn't come in. Like,
That's right.
It's
a fear.
Yeah, have a strong opinion about something, but ultimately keep it categorized as this affects 5% of the things that I'm worried about. But it's so easy to let a 5% something occupy the whole 100%.
Especially when it's a negative, because human
yeah.
nature, we dwell on negative all the time. So when that little 5% is something negative, it'll completely control you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm ready to get back to talking about strategies and tactics at the firehouse table.
Yeah.
And
throwing ladders. Yeah.
I mean, because good fires do boost morale.
no
Oh
doubt.
my gosh.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the way it goes. When you're not burning, what else do you have to do besides train and do all your work? Right, and run calls, medical calls, whatever. But good fires are such a good morale booster.
Yeah. I ran into Eric Moon yesterday, and he was off a shift, and they ran 2 structure calls, like with houses on fire. He was so bummed.
He was moderately depressed.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I hate missing work.
Yeah.
We ended up talking about that, like the desire to find work. And even you can get there, you can get on scene, but you can still get away from work. And that's what I like about his crew is they'll be fifth due. and still get work because they want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my crew's like that back home, and of one of the older crews, because the nature of my engine and the schedule that we work, which is pretty unique in North Carolina. And so I have a couple 50-year-olds, senior firefighters, 50 on the back, and my engineer's 50, awesome driver, probably the best. I think he's the best driver in the city. Knows where we're going. I like how fast he drives.
Right.
And really wants to get in there and get us in a position where we're going to do that work. And then my back men are just jam up, and the other one's 44, and they're smart, they're mechanically really sound, and they get it. And my crew is awesome, and they're fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I told you I work on engine 15, and it's the unique schedule is that I work 410s. So my company floats around, and we fill holes in the city that are made by people training. And so
How about that?
it's pretty cool. We have a home base, and then just throughout the day, maybe we get a couple assignments, or we're at one house the whole time. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
So it's like 8 to 5, just
7:30 to 5:30,
okay.
Monday through Thursday. So we get a 3-day weekend every weekend, home every single night. All holidays are off.
Your truck is the only one, or your engine is the only one in the city. That is its purpose.
Yeah, maybe the only one in
Wow.
the state, to be honest.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
I told you we're progressive.
it sounds
I mean, we do some cool stuff up there.
Yeah.
it sounds like almost sounds like a logistical nightmare, but it makes so much sense.
Yeah, instead of having to move a company out of their
Yeah.
own area,
Yeah.
leaving that unguarded to guard this. You
Yeah.
just- yeah.
Do they use your staff to fill vacancies, like if somebody's sick, or is that still pushed out for an overtime position or something like that, or do they?
That sounds a lot like labor ready.
Do
Yeah.
Which that's why I have to tell my battalion chief sometimes, like, hey, man, we're not labor ready over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're here at work, so don't punish us. Keep our company together.
Right.
If a couple of these guys bang out sick, put our whole company in there. And so, and they've been pretty good about that. But with that being said, if we get low on our fleet, then sometimes
You get
they
farmed
do.
out, yeah.
Yeah, they do that, or they take our engine, which makes us
Man.
sad.
Yeah. I could hear it in your voice.
I know it is a downer, and yeah. So
Do you feel like you catch, like, just do statistics work? Like you're still getting the same number of fires that you would if you just had one district? Or do you feel like it's kind of working in your advantage? You're getting more work?
are you saying because we're out of service, maybe we're going from one place to the next, or just because we're moving around?
Yeah, you're
or-
floating around. Like, does that end up getting you jobs?
Oh, we'll just go to all fires.
I like where your head's
Yeah.
at.
So
Yeah.
especially if we don't have an assignment, if we get a structure fire, we're rolling.
Yeah. Man,
So-
that's outstanding.
Yeah, that part's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want more help on the fire scene, right?
Yeah.
That's what we like to say. So here we come.
Yeah.
And then we put ourselves in positions when we get there to do work. Like, you know,
Yeah.
maybe we move a lot closer to the IC. Hey,
Dude, there's little things like having your jacket on.
Yeah, being
Ha- ha-
prepared.
yeah, having your tools with you. Like there's, you see crews that are
already
standby.
on air right next to him,
Yeah.
ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, waiting for a request and be like, we can do that.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. We have to do a quick bottle swap. We've been hanging out the whole
Yeah.
time. No, but we are seriously right there. You're right.
Yeah.
Being ready to go and looking like you want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and being reliable too.
Absolutely. Reputation, having
yeah.
relationships.
Yeah. And we've got guys that like to do work,
Mm-hmm.
and people know that. So
I'm trying to find, me, devil's advocate. I'm trying to find a downside to this idea. I love it so much. I'm trying to shoot holes in it.
Yeah.
Where's the problem in this?
Yeah.
But I guess other than hiring more staff, there's not. It sounds like a dream. Sounds like a dream, like a great assignment and a great service for a department. Not to have to rotate people around, and because we have south side companies that have to travel all the way through the city to come up to the north side campus to train. So I mean, and there's 2 firehouses down there, so you're taking possibly 2 entire companies away from the other So if you have something pop off down there, you're relying on the beach towns and mutual aid and stuff from the city. Whereas with that, they go up, that company goes down there, and you
Everything
haven't
stays the
lost
same.
you haven't lost anything with service delivery. It just makes a lot of sense.
I know, right? And so, it's a pretty sexy job for these people. Like, oh,
Yeah.
all right. So I don't have to work weekends, but if I want to, then I get my day rate overtime.
Right.
And so, I don't get less money. I work the same.
Sure.
I don't work the same, rather. So I work 40 hours, but my pay stays the same as someone else in my class, which is a nice benefit.
Sure.
It's pretty cool. The downside is that I'm at work 4 days straight, but
Yeah.
I guess it kind of, well, I mean, let's be serious. You're a fireman. If you weren't at the firehouse, you'd be doing something else anyway.
I know.
So it
I
just
know.
saves you from that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be having a job doing something.
Yeah. And my guys work a lot of overtime, to be
So,
honest.
yeah.
But I don't work it as often just because I'm
You're
doing
busy.
so many different things. But yeah, it's there. The work's there, especially right now, if they want it. And
I bet if that was something that was offered here, you'd have a line of people
I think
wanting to do that.
the only thing is, when we first put it out, no one wanted it. And I mean, there were senior officers that were like, nah, you know how firefighters are. They
Sure.
don't like change. And so no one wanted it. And I was acting out of class. I was on the list at that time. And so they put me in it. And then I just told them, I want to stay. I actually asked if I could go over there. I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like it.
Especially like the guys with kids like mine are getting to be that age where you're super involved in sports and dance and this and that being off every evening, that's really beneficial. Now it doesn't have to be that way forever. So I mean, you can go back to your regular 24s when you've done that little stint and satisfied that need at home. God, it's
Yeah, family.
I hate to keep dwelling on it, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, for three of us, I mean, family was a huge reason why. I do think it's good for marriage to be at home every
Right.
night having dinner. I think, it's good for me as a dad to be at home every night. That's really tough for firefighters, not being able to attend all these events.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I really like it. And one of the other guys, single dad, and so it really helped him. And then one of the others, his wife just loves it. Actually knew I wanted him, and so I was like, well, we're going to recruit this guy to fill in to this new spot that just opened. So
Yeah.
I definitely let his wife know.
Right.
To make
Yeah,
sure.
start working on them.
Yeah, and then it was over with. Let her know that we wanted him and told her about it, and she's like, "You're working it."
Yeah. Yeah. Put
Well,
the hammer
I'm
down.
still thinking about it. I like my
Yeah.
spot. No, you're working
No.
it.
No,
Yeah. So work related, do guys move on your rig, or if you're in this seat, that's your seat every day? Like, is the driving position shared, or that person drives, this person is in this seat?
No, so we don't move. So the engineer is always whipping it, and the guys are on the back unless I'm out, and then they'll bump up, and that is a cool thing because I am out, doing stuff, and they just slide right in. They don't miss a beat, but yeah, it's fire service. I mean,
Yeah.
sure.
everybody's replaceable, right?
Sure.
So it
what
doesn't
they
matter
tell
if
us.
I'm there, right? It doesn't matter if I'm there or not, and I think that the department has the same confidence in those guys because they're smart and they're good.
Yeah. How about on fire scene? Is the same guy bringing the irons, or same guy's got the hook in the can, or do they rotate with that?
Now the same guys really doing the same thing.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
you said something right there, and I want to talk about it. You said all firemen are replaceable. We talked about this with the fully involved Leatherworks guys. One of Justin, the owner of that company, his biggest concerns and things that he's seeing now is that that's not necessarily the case anymore. Are y'all seeing that in Asheville? Are you seeing an exodus of people at all?
Yeah, I mean, we are going to miss people, but I just feel like someone else is just going to step in. The department's going to keep rolling.
Are y'all still hiring at the same rate that you were 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Our rigs are staffed appropriately. We ride 4 on everything. And you know, so yes, we are hiring, and we're getting ready to hire more. We just hired a group, and they're in rookie school right now. We just graduated a group of we just put 17 online, and just hired a new group, and they're in rookie school. I think this is their 2nd week now.
That's great.
And then we'll be looking to hire again really soon. But yeah, we've lost some really talented people. A couple have just gone to other departments.
Like 15, 20-year guys or 10-year guys, or just a vast
We
array?
did lose some 15s, but we just got a pay bump, and I think that really was a huge morale boost. And you know, we had guys making $11.65 an hour, and that's not valuing your firefighter.
Nah.
And so we put a major campaign together to get $15 an hour for all of our firefighters, and everybody up above them got boosted too. So that has been really good to keep people.
Sure. What was? Were you able to get any reasoning behind some of those senior guys leaving?
One of them just had a good job opportunity.
Okay.
And some of them have left to maybe be a chief somewhere. Or
Okay.
It wasn't like, oh, this place sucks, I'm going somewhere else.
All right.
One of the guys went out west. He's working out west now.
That's cool.
Yeah, so a lot of that, really.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're suffering with that here. Not necessarily older folks leaving, but our hiring pool seems to have dwindled. When I got hired, I'm sure it was the same way. Well, your recruit class reflects that. But when I was hired, there was a list of people, and you were fighting for a spot on this list. And now it's like we have to advertise, and we have to
Right.
go try to campaign to get people, convince people why being a firefighter is a good thing. You know, you see this on billboards at the community college and all this kind of stuff, but it didn't used to be like that. Even 10 years ago, it wasn't like that. It was always a giant pool to pull from.
Yeah, we had 400 and some applicants for my class.
Yeah, and now we do onboarding. We might have 2 people in it.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
Our numbers were down because I believe it's because of the pay. I mean,
Okay.
And we were hitting it really hard on social media too. But yeah, who wants to go risk your life and maybe get cancer for $11.65 an hour? It's almost stupid, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of these departments don't offer health insurance, so you just abuse your body for 30 years, and then you retire, and you can't afford health insurance because who wants to insure a broken firefighter?
Right.
And so I do think people look at that, but you know, when the pay is okay, and then they're like, okay, yeah, that's a cool job, but I do think we have to do a better job of recruiting everywhere in North Carolina. I mean, we see a lot of that pool where it's just shrinking. It's like, okay, well, have you put it out there? I mean,
Right.
should have 1,000 people applying for this job, and especially in Asheville. I mean, and down here at the beach. I mean,
Yeah, you figure we get a lot of like hungry college kids, and I think the city.
But what hurts us is we don't offer an academy.
That's true.
So we're expecting people to go through, which is a great program to have the community college to be able to go and get certified, but you're not getting paid.
Yeah, so that's another thing.
we do have an academy, so that is
Yep.
that is really helpful. I'd like to see us do laterals too, and not lateral captains or chiefs or anything like that, but lateral firefighters.
Firefighters, yeah.
And run them through 2 weeks or whatever. I mean, firefighting is pretty much the same, you know?
Yeah.
So run them through a couple weeks, and I'd like for us to just be the New York Yankees of North Carolina, where we steal awesome New Hanover guys.
Right.
And all just, oh, yeah, come on. That'd be cool, I think. Get guys that already know how to do the job and run them through 2 weeks and get them on the truck.
It'd be dirty, but it would work well.
I
Wouldn't
think
it?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be dirty?
Yeah.
Some good politics in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do think we should have a much more diverse pool, and we don't, and but I do think it is how we're recruiting, and I don't know. Maybe we need to tap into some of these athletes. I mean, athletes all over this state, and
Sure.
athletes like coming over and working at the fire department.
Yeah, we're occupational athletes. So,
Yeah.
if you're on a football team, baseball team, hockey, whatever, this is a great job.
And I mean, you get some badass people that actually know how to get along with others because they've been in sports,
Teams.
competitive
Yeah.
sports, and
It makes
we
a lot of sense.
yeah, and we do have some pretty good athletes in our department, and some of them played for Wisconsin. Some of them, like we just pulled a bunch from Wisconsin football, but
Right.
we had a guy that played at Wisconsin, and he's an awesome baseball player, and we've got professional hockey guys. We've got a lady that was a University of Miami soccer player. I mean, so we get some good athletes into Asheville.
Yeah, today on Truck 17, Pete,
Yeah.
baseball player. Yeah,
Play for the Red Sox.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some athletes.
Yeah. And that's why we always destroy the cops every time we play them in something, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
He's
'cause-
not wrong.
No,
I mean, when was the last time you lost to the cops in anything?
yeah, never. Yeah, even if we did, I wouldn't admit it.
Never.
No,
Yeah.
never have lost.
Never happened.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
Yeah, we used to have annual softball every year, and we destroyed them all the time. Now we do hockey. I don't play hockey, but they still get destroyed.
Oh, I know. And I actually caught myself the other day. I was at my daughter's school. We were doing a truck show.
Sure.
And this kid tells me, my dad's a cop. I'm like, nah, don't worry. I won't hold that against you.
yeah,
And the teacher's kind of looking at me like, what an asshole.
yeah. It's years of
I
of
know.
this back and forth. Yeah,
And then I'm trying to say, well, this is why. And they just look at me like, really? You
Yeah.
just said that to a 5-year-old? So I was trying to tell a kid, hey, we just joke around. I'm sure Dad's great.
yeah. It's like 5 and 6 year olds and Chiefs don't understand sarcasm. So yeah, if you can just treat those two about the same, everything will be all right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I'm really bad at texting because I'm a pretty sarcastic person.
Yeah,
And it's like, oh, God. Then I have to explain it. Let's just have a phone conversation.
Yeah,
I'm not good at
please.
this texting
Yeah.
thing.
yeah. Hit somebody with some all caps.
Yeah.
I know. Why are you yelling at me?
I'm very good at separating my work life and my home life.
Yeah.
I'm very good at it.
Yeah.
It's taken a long time to get there, but I'm good at it. And this is just something that I throw into my work life area. So I'll edit shows, if I get downtime at work, or I'll do it when the wife and the kids are at school and work. So I just have the house to myself. So I've gotten good at that. It doesn't take up, other than the shows in the evening, it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't take up much of my family time, which is good. So my wife has never complained.
Yeah,
Ever.
that's
ever,
nice.
Ever. Probably more encouraging than anything.
That's good.
Yeah.
Like I
sees
said,
what we're doing.
I never turn my phone off.
Right.
Right.
But I don't want to get messed up.
I get it.
Yep. I've been trying to include more turned off phone time. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
cut it off, leave it in the truck, go fishing, go do whatever.
Which is not great when I have a question.
Yeah.
And-
Right.
Right. Right.
I need you to monitor that shit a little better.
I know. I just worry that some emergency is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like,
Oh, yeah.
I kind of.
We should bring back pagers.
Yes. Yes. I feel like somewhere, probably.
Yeah, doctors still use them.
Do they? Man.
Only for real emergencies.
Right.
Dude, that thing was, that alphanumeric pager, dude, that was better than the badge when I got hired. You can keep the badge. I just want that.
Yeah.
And then we flipped over and quit using them for that. We just started using them for task force people. So, buddy, I'm going to tell you what, when that thing went off, you were something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you needed to run into a phone booth and
Yeah.
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 You don't understand. They need me.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
it says call.
Yeah.
The problem is everybody thinks their issue's an emergency.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this hotel pager friendly?
Oh, man. Pagers that would connect to Wi-Fi. Heavens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit. Is it time to pay parking? No.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Let me check mine.
I paid for 2
I do,
hours, so it
yeah,
should
yeah.
be good. for the next little while.
I hate getting parking tickets. I don't like it.
You can get out of them fairly easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to go through the grievance process.
Yeah.
I've gotten a bunch down here, but the couple that I've grieved, I've gotten out of. One was, I think I forgot to feed the meter, and when I went to try to pay it, it wouldn't allow me, so they threw it out.
Okay.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that next time.
It was so easy. Yeah. And then the one up here, the little parking lot that's up here, that's astronomical to park in.
Yeah.
I went up there one time, and I had left. It was late one night. I had left, came back. There was no street parking, so I just pulled in there real quick, came down here, and sure as shit, I was down here 15 minutes, went back up, and it was I had a ticket. And that's exactly what I told them. Say, look, I have a business right next door. I ran in there super quick. I was in and out maybe 15 minutes. Your cameras will reflect it. I'll pay it if necessary, but I would rather not.
Yeah.
Do it out.
How about that?
Nice.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I don't think their vetting process for the grieving is very good. They just see a grief and they throw it out.
It's probably a very low amount of grievances. People are just like, I'm just gonna pay it. So
Yeah.
a few grievances are gonna be like, all right, whatever.
Just throw it out. Yeah. I think as long as
might
it's
be
not
fun
dumb.
to read them. Like if that's your job, like reading some bullshit. Like I just forgot to pay it. Fine, throw it away.
Yeah, right.
They probably got some sort of quota they can throw away.
Yeah.
I'm glad I've landed on that twice. That's been good. So everybody's peed. We're good.
Yeah.
All right, good. We got to make sure the phone conversation, the pager conversation, gets in this one.
I mean, we haven't stopped rolling.
I know we don't.
Yeah.
We never do.
Man, it's nice being back down here.
It is. Haven't been down here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna talk about us, or I'm gonna get your opinion, of a subject that I see creeping into the fire service, that I have a strong opinion on, and I would be interested to hear yours as well, and Steve's and Jeremy's for that fact, because I don't think we've ever talked about this per se.
Fresh meat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
right.
that is the this diversity kick. That seems to be the big push right now is diversity. I have a strong opinion about it, and I'm fine. I'm going to talk about it. I told Jeremy I was going to talk about it. He was like, careful. I was like, no, I won't be careful.
No, you do you.
I won't be careful. And I love it. I don't have a problem with any human being on this planet. The issue that I'm terrified of, and I have started, if you kind of look through the smoke, I'm sure you can think of an example where this might have happened as well. The issue that I'm terrified of, and I'm starting to kind of see, is quality of employee and ability of employee is being looked at smaller than satisfying that diversity. Does that make sense? Where I'm kind of going with this?
I think I'm tracking you.
It might have been a bad example, but what I'm seeing is we'll take a random promotional process. This is all fictitious by every stretch of the imagination. You have a diversity box that we need to check. We need to get this diversity box up. Okay, where if you'll look at our fire department, reminder, this is all fictitious. Let's look at our fire department. We're basically one race here. Okay, so we need to start diversifying. It's all one race and it's all men. So we need to start diversifying. Good. I don't disagree with that at all. But when the quality of employee is, you have two candidates. One is a super stud, but he's the same race and the same gender. And then you have one that's a little less, doesn't quite set the bars high, but they check that diversity box. They're getting shipped into it. And I'm terrified of that. How do you feel about the diversity push in the fire service?
I think the most qualified applicants should be the ones that get the job. Now, with that being said, like we talked about earlier, I don't understand why some of these departments are limiting their pool. And so I think it's more of a pool issue than it is a diversity issue, because you want the best people to work with you. And there's only so many people in New Hanover County, right?
Sure.
And you keep putting it out there, and you keep doing the same thing over and over again, and then you're complaining about 20 white guys being hired, and how that doesn't reflect the population of New Hanover County. Well, okay, well, whose fault is that? I mean, you're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So put it out there. And I mean, you should never have two people for
Right.
two jobs or one job or whatever that was. That's crazy. You should have 1,000 applicants. I mean, and so I just don't think we're doing a good job of advertising. I don't think we're doing a good job of finding that talent. And I put it on our HR departments. So we just need to do a better job. We need to get more people in, and we need to hire the best candidates for the job, whatever they are, and then roll on.
Do y'all have diversity training in Asheville?
Maybe by email or something.
Okay, but not like a formal, like, sit down through class.
No.
Okay. Interesting.
The diversity thing.
Sure.
If you take that fear that you're going to have like a qualified candidate, but he doesn't check this box, I think if done with the right motives, like, hey, we don't want to limit our pool. We want the whole thing open. If it's done right, then you will end up with the very best. It doesn't matter what box you check. You'll end up with the best talented individuals if you open it up to everybody, not just if you've worked at another fire department before or if you've gone through this pre-academy that we talked about. If we open up to human beings and you come, you apply, you go through the physical agility test, all the requirements, it's open to everybody. And then it makes it the easiest thing in the world that everybody has access to, and may the best person for this job win. That's not limiting at any rate. I think the confusion is we've limited for so long.
Yeah, I was about to say that idea makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yep, the limiting and making it to where it's only the 20 white guys that worked for this department, that department, and got experience already. Put it open. Like my process, I got hired in, it was 400 and some people that came out, and that was the one time we hired off the street. It was said, you didn't have to have anything, just an interest. And so it was a huge pool, and we've had a diverse group. So if it's done purely, then it's perfect. But if it's done, we have to have this box or this box, put limits, then that's silly. And I get that in some political conversation, they can't see how simple it should be. But if you just take all the rules away, open an application and say, hey, come apply, we'll train you, then that works. And that would be the easiest, fairest. Like, that's how it should be done. I don't know if it'll ever actually get done that simply, but that's how it should be done.
And that makes sense. I mean, if you look at your applicants, are you getting a diverse group of applicants?
Right.
And if you're not, I mean, again, that's on HR and how they're promoting it. But maybe get into the high schools, get them trained up in high schools, and then you have to be 18 to go in. But you could get those other classes worked out, and we just have to be more creative and grow the pools, not just pick. And a lot in the fire service, it is a traditional job, and
Yeah.
You've got to know someone to get into certain places, and that's hard on everybody. But I would say, I mean, that definitely impacts hiring as well for diverse candidates.
I was just about to say what you were saying. We need to find a way to present our career as a viable career for everybody and anybody to be a part of, just like a computer programmer or any other job out there. We have funneled ourselves down so much where if your dad or your best friend or something like that wasn't a fireman, then that's not a career for you. That's poor on our part.
Part of that, I'm going to throw a new idea at you.
Hit me.
If you're throwing out an application to an equal, gigantic group of people, and your pay is less than other entry-level jobs around, then only the people that have another family member or somebody in the fire department are going to see like that sale. Like if my dad was in the department, it's like, hey, the pay's low, but you get to do this, this, and that. The random general population doesn't know unless they have a friend or somebody in that tells them, hey, the pay's low, but it's a really good job. We need to make that pay equal to the other ones, and then the applicants will come rolling in.
I think you're right. And yeah, pay sucks right now, but guess what? After we're going to train you to do this job. And
Right.
then after 6 months of being online, then you're going to get this pay bump and you'll be above those other places that
Yeah.
you're competing against.
Yeah, maybe the understanding of the low bar of entry, but the very highly promotable aspect of upward mobility in our service. Just broadcast that. Yeah, it sucks right now, but 6 months, you'll be here. Then you have the ability to stick with, study hard, work hard, develop this good reputation. Then you can go here.
Yeah. If you
and
don't
here,
quit,
and here,
or if you're not a terrible person, this is a career job. It's not. You can find industries that apply or run applicant pools, and they attract you with a good pay, but then in 4 years they've sold to some other company, and your job just disappeared, or you have to move across the country.
no security.
Yeah, this is a very secure job. That sort of thing can also be part of the sale.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can get a diverse group if we take away the limits, like you're saying, and just put it out there and educate. You
Yeah.
know, like, hey, you are going to start off low, but
We all did.
we all did. Yeah.
So studies are showing with this new generation that they don't think the same way as we were brought up to look at a 30-year career and be like, cool, that's going to have a pension, because a lot of them are not going to have pensions. Social Security they're not going to have. So they don't look at jobs the same way that we did, the way our parents taught us to look at jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So they say now that with this generation that they're going to be more prone to career shop, to go through a career, go to another one. They're going to have more. So that have you seen the city of Wilmington's social media campaigns?
Nope.
So they are actually doing a lot of, like, I guess you can kind of say TikTok style videos with their crews, and I thought it was like I was cringing, like some of the stuff they're doing, but I think it's going to be very effective on them to have that type of reputation hit the younger generation so they can kind of see that. I think it's going to be genius for them. So they kind of are taking to social media. You know, we're doing social media, but we're doing like hey, it's National Fire Prevention Week. Check your smoke detectors. Kids don't care about that.
Yeah.
But I think adapting to the way younger generations are using social media is how you're going to reach them. I like Scott's answer with human resource, putting everything on human resources to do more an effective like job recruitment, because whenever we have a job application open, I only see our people like sharing it.
Right.
There's one initial
Yeah.
job posting by New Hampshire County government, and I guarantee you, if you look at their social media list, their friends list, or whoever's following them, it's not teenagers and high school kids and kids in their early 20s following the New Hampshire County government.
Right.
So yeah, I like that. But yeah, I think having you've got to hook them with something interesting, because telling them, hey, you stay here 10 years down the road, you're going to be making this much and have this much, job benefit. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe some will, but I think the way that this new generation is just not the same of how we thought.
Yeah. And who's talking to them?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously they've figured out that maybe the old person that just has a Facebook account isn't the person that they need to have advertising.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. That's smart. You're right. If you go do a fire prevention at an elementary school and you put on turnout gear like we always have, it's not near as exciting. But if you bang out 2 or 3 Fortnite dances, you got them.
Yeah.
You got them.
is that you? Is that what you do?
Could be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's different. I like the idea of trying to figure out something that's gonna help prolong the life of this career, this service, better than what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That wasn't bad.
What's that?
That wasn't bad.
It could go either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could go either way.
He was scared.
Yeah,
He was nervous.
It
Yeah.
could go either way. It could go either way.
If
I'm
the-
not scared of controversy either, though. So, I mean, like I
If
said, it
your
could go either
motives
way.
are in the right spot,
That's right.
everything's solvable.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's only when you're fronting that you're trying to get this done, but you're protecting the football. That's when the shadows come into play, and anybody can see what are you protecting. You know, just put that shit on the table and make it available for everyone. Run an academy and let the best person get the job. It's not difficult. They're making it difficult. It's not difficult.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And you can apply that method to any problem you need to solve. Just put the problem up, try to solve it, not try to make everybody think they're solving it while you've got your own little
Agenda.
side gig.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that applies like home relationships, everything. Like that's life.
Agree.
Mm-hmm.
What are some? I'm not going to keep beating the political drum, but I have my own questions.
That's okay.
And I don't,
I'm
I don't-
here.
Yeah, I don't want it to be a political show per se. You're just the man who could probably answer it, and I have.
I
Questions.
hope so.
What's happening? What's happening past the state of North Carolina? Like as far as on a federal level goes, are we fighting any fights for firemen nationwide?
Yeah. So
Or does it kind of just stay in our state? Like you wouldn't necessarily know the answer to that question because you're North Carolina.
yeah. So collective bargaining is always being brought up, and right now it'd be really hard to pass collective bargaining. You know, it's a 50-50 deal. It'd get through the House, but it would be a challenge to get it through the Senate.
And collective bargaining, that would entail
For
Nego-
firefighters,
negotiation for
for
pay, that
safety,
kind of-
pay,
yeah.
benefits, yeah, which
Okay.
would be awesome.
Heck
right?
yeah, dude.
I
They
mean,
can't afford me, I promise.
that'd be awesome. And you know, North Carolina's right to work state, and with our legislative friends that are Republicans, we know they're not down with collective bargaining, but we never ask them to push that. Like we get it, we understand where they're coming from, but we have a lot of other things that we're trying to push, and they're really helpful on those things. Then there's some Medicare for firefighters after they hit 50, which would be huge because a lot of people do start young, and then a lot of places don't offer insurance. So that's a big deal. That's gotten a little bit of traction. That's something to watch out for. I thought you were going to ask me about something else because there was a tax issue that was trying to be fixed. And North Carolina State Firefighters Association was making this big push, and they're upset with us, being the International Association of Firefighters group, with the PFFPNC being a branch of that, because we weren't in favor of it. And
Enlighten me. I'm not aware. Enlighten me.
you guys
Yeah.
haven't gotten the emails where they're so mad at us?
I probably have, but that doesn't mean I read them.
I know. I've been out of the loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, enlighten me.
Well,
What's happening?
The executive director was calling us out because we were against this, and which I was very upfront. We had a legislative committee, and I was very upfront with the committee, and it was the State Firefighters Association guys and the North Carolina Fire Chiefs Association, and they wanted us to fix this tax issue on a federal level, which would allow them to have a battle on the state level where all firefighters would get into the local government employee retirement system.
Okay.
And I was just upfront with them. I'm representing professional firefighters. That's my job. And I want a sound retirement system, and I thought it would impact it. And so we were against that because I also need to say the treasurer is also against it. And so they had some Republicans running the legislation, the House Republicans, but keep in mind, the House Republicans had power for a number of years, and now they're in the minority. So wouldn't you have the Democrats try and run this bill for you now? I mean, that's pretty easy to see, right? So
Sure.
the
You would think so,
minority
yeah.
isn't going to – I mean, they had an opportunity to just run this and get it passed if they wanted to. But now they're saying, well, we tried to run it, but the International Association of Firefighters killed it, which, I mean, I'm not in support of the legislation.
Okay.
I like a sound system, and I think it's important to have oversight. And so they're upset, but you have to have some oversight. You can't have a chief that's, maybe he worked for Asheville, and then he retires out after 30 years. And then he goes over to this other department. Maybe he just sits in a recliner all day long, doesn't have any training requirements. Maybe he decides to pay himself $150,000 a year to do this. So all of a sudden his four highest isn't, $80,000 a year. All of a sudden his four highest is $150,000 a year. And so with no oversight for these types of departments, that would be something that they could do. And so that's a problem for the system.
Yeah.
And also some of these chiefs, they could get into the system, and a lot of them have turned it down in the past, where cities have wanted them to incorporate, and a lot of these chiefs don't want to let go of their power, and so that's what we're looking at. They don't want to get rid of the power, and then they squash it, and they just have their little department that they're in charge of, where they make all this money. So that's what's going on.
It seems like something that would violate that rule of you got this bucket with a bunch of water in it, and that's the system, that's the retirement system, and that would potentially drill a lot more holes in it and drain the system. And if the system collapses, then the people that have been part of it longer end up with no. It's kind of like the fear of Social Security. Like if they keep using Social Security to pay all these other bills, then some poor guy that worked at job X for 30 years and retired and now doesn't get Social Security that he's paid into. So I could see where the fear of the system getting overtaxed.
That's right, because they also haven't paid into that system.
Right.
So all of a sudden you have someone that's been there for 30 years that hasn't paid into the system, and it's getting ready to make that money based off of their four highest.
Yeah.
And that's probably a large number for some of those people. And there are fixes to it. They have to get incorporated or do whatever they need to do to get into the system. But the other thing is that we pay 6% into this, and the ones that are in the system, Asheville pays in 13.75% of the wages. So a lot of these places really couldn't even afford to do that. And plus you have to have HR and all this other stuff. And so it's a lot more complicated than just saying, oh yeah, up or down, this is good.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
But I will say from the beginning, I said where I was at.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot better than going behind their back, and which sometimes that happens, but I'm not cool with that.
Were they able to articulate their reasoning for why they wanted to be a part of the other system versus what we have in place now? Could they articulate it in a way where it made sense, or is it just, hey, we want to do this, we need you to back this, and then obviously you took your time and did your own homework and have enough knowledge about it, you were like, that's a bad idea long term, and they're like,
I understand.
Shit on you, because
yeah, and I understand. I mean, and they were able to articulate their point. I understand, but I just don't agree.
Okay.
And but that's where it is. So.
It is what it is.
Hey, we're not gonna agree on everything. Me and Hoffman don't agree on everything.
Yeah.
How boring would it be if we did?
That'd be a bad show.
I know.
It would be awful.
Yeah.
It would be awful.
Yeah. So I pride our organization on what we do politically, and we've added line of duty deaths. We've built these relationships where we have our friends in good positions to run our legislation. We're there all the time working on legislation. We're helping getting these political people reelected, and we're doing things. We're in the game all year long. We don't just show up at the end and talk to a committee and expect to get results. And like I said, we are the organization that does that.
and that's why I pay my dues every month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the time to dedicate to doing that kind of stuff, so I'm fully on board with investing in folks to go do that, and me knowing that they have my best interest, more importantly, my family's best interest, at the forefront and run that kind of stuff. I'm possibly the most inactive union member on planet Earth, probably, but but I don't have a problem entrusting that with you, entrusting my money with you. At the end of the day, it's my money. I don't have a problem with that because I understand the motives.
I appreciate that. And we have those members all over, but it really helps us when we're in front of a city council or a fire chief and we're like, we've got 90-some%, 93%
Sure.
density. And so I'm here speaking for the department. This is where you're at. And it's always good to get along with your fire chief if you can.
Right.
And we have a great one in Asheville. And I call him up. We talk a few times a week. We try and fix problems before they become bigger problems. We actually have civil service law in Asheville, which would be awesome if everybody did. And so we have due process, and the civil service law impacts our promotional processes and try and make everything equal. And so it's always nice to have those conversations with the chief, so we don't have grievances coming down.
Right.
And that's a really great advantage that our members have.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. What's the future for Scott Mullins look like?
Oh, I don't know.
That's not good.
I don't know. I was telling you I love my job on Engine 15 with my awesome crew and everything. And I really like it. Is sometimes I get down being a local president, or because there's so many problems on the local level, and it seems like on the state level maybe there aren't as many of those problems. But I still really enjoy it, and I like making a difference in people's lives. And so I'm really happy where I'm at. I'm running again for state president. We have elections every 2 years. And so
When is that?
it'll be in November.
Of this year?
Yeah. And I hope the members think that I've done a good job. And I think passing some cancer legislation would definitely help with that.
Sure.
So hopefully that gets figured out soon. But I really enjoy all that stuff. And it was hard doing this job during COVID. And I hate not getting out and seeing people.
Yeah, face to face.
If we were doing this over Zoom, it wouldn't be the same.
Nah.
But it's just being able to travel, and that's the fun part of the job, just working with people and having those relationships. And so, yeah, I'm pretty happy. So I guess the future is that I'd like to stay in both those positions. And I like being a captain still. I'm not ready to move up to that BC spot. I still like fighting fire when we get them.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty content.
It's good.
Nice.
You want to ask the magic wand question?
No, you do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So me and Steve trade this question back and forth, and sometimes he gets to it before I do, and vice versa. If you had a magic wand and you could make the fire service a perfect place, what would that look like?
Oh, well, I guess. So are we talking the departments or?
It can be as broad or as narrow as you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool if everyone was just happy at work? And so how do we get that besides catching fires, right? Because that's what we all love. I mean, when we're catching fires, everybody's happy. And it's that other time in between. And so just having good policies that are fair and equitable, and if we just keep our people happy. And I don't know, how do we do that? Do we pay them better? I think we pay them how they should be paid, and we treat them like they should be treated. So in a perfect world, that would be that department. If we had every department that way in North Carolina, that would be awesome. Then maybe that'd be boring because I wouldn't have anything to do. But
most magic wand answers, it's in that situation, are some unachievable goal, but those are achievable goals. Like we can get there. It's going to take some work, but we can get there.
Yeah, I'd love to have collective bargaining, right? That'd be awesome. It's not coming anytime soon.
Sure.
But what could happen, it would be great. We have 5 cities in North Carolina that have civil service laws in place. So I think it'd be awesome if we had every municipality with civil service protections. Because for us, that's almost like a contract. I mean, we can't just fire someone for no reason in Asheville because that would be grieved and end up in front of a civil service board and everyone get to plead their case. And I wish that more places could be like that. I think it's healthy for our employees. And, civil service was put in the 50s to protect the citizens, really, because who wants to have a chief that just hires their cousin because that's their cousin?
Right.
And so it put promotional processes in front of the board and hiring and all that stuff. And so civil service stuff's really good. And when we get a fight on our hands over civil service, there's nothing more important. I mean, pay isn't as important. I mean, nothing is as important to us in Asheville as keeping our civil service law. And all you really have to do is get your local reps on board. So you just go to them. I would steal ours. And, the departments should be doing this. The people should be doing this and making this push and getting their local reps. And that's who votes on it. I mean, if you're in Raleigh and everyone in New Hanover County is cool with this, then everyone's like, okay, well, that's their stuff. So we'll support it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Sounds fun.
Well, Scott, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate everything you do. I know we all do. Really appreciate everything you do. I can probably speak for the majority of the union members in New Hanover County that we appreciate everything you're doing, man. It's been a real pleasure. We'll all be pulling for you in November.
Well, thanks. I mean, it is cool, and I like doing it. I like that we have members that actually like firefighting too, and our people actually want to be good at the job.
Right.
And I think it's cool that our union guys like being good at the job, and presidents all over the state are trying to put money into training, and we've done that in Asheville. We brought Nozzle Forward in. Our local did that. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that class,
absolutely.
but and that changed how we move hose, and we pay to send our guys off to good ladder training, and they bring that information back and share it with the department. We bought door props. We do all this stuff because we actually care about our members being good at the job, because that makes everybody safer, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I do think that's the cool thing about our local and locals across North Carolina and the state association now is like our people actually give a shit if you can do the job or not, and we want to make you a better firefighter. We also want to protect you and improve your safety pay and benefits, but that is a good way to improve safety.
Yeah, 100%.
Agree.
Yeah. Scott, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
guess next time, maybe if I get it next time, maybe a later show so we can get into your stash over there.
Yeah, get into the good talk.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Next time for sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, man.
man.
Enjoy it, brother.
All right.
Be safe.